Sorry, what's up, lads? All well on this Monday Night Live. It's the 1st or 2nd of June. I've lost track of time because tomorrow is the day. It's the date with destiny, as the thumbnail suggests. My name's Avnish Hegde, and as you can see, Nikhil Popat and Akshay Kumaraswamy. Nikhil, I'll start with you. How was your weekend? What did you do on Saturday and Sunday?
Cricket, and more cricket. What else we here for? Had a few relatives coming home, and they saw how seriously I cover cricket because they all got a hearing for me because they were speaking in front of the presentation. So I also got a hearing after that. That can't you then tell us in advance? But that is the fun of people coming home for stay over. But yeah, IPL is coming to an end. It's been a very weird feeling. I don't know if you guys have it, but it just feels very. It doesn't give you the IPL final vibe that usually would. Maybe today is that lull. Tomorrow, I'm sure it'll kick in.
Yeah, today could be the calm before the storm, Akshay. I mean, tomorrow at this time, it'll be going off, mate. It'll just be going off. We have paramedics on standby, apparently, for the watch along. So nothing can probably happen to you and me. But how are you feeling? 24 hours, shall I say 23 hours and 30 minutes before the first ball?
Yeah, I mean, it is definitely very nerve-wracking. Can't stop just thinking about, what can happen, what could happen, what might happen. Just, trying to think of all the worst-case scenarios, the best-case scenarios. Toss जीतेंगे, toss हारेंगे, कोई fit नहीं है, कोई ये नहीं है, वहाँ पे क्या होगा, यहाँ पे क्या होगा. It's just everything going on. So you're just trying to stay calm, not think too much about the game. So I've been actively trying to avoid thinking about the game. Been watching a bunch of different things. Went out for a run. Just got back. Just trying to not think about IPL right now. Happy to sort of see a few other updates coming in the world of cricket. So just been focusing on those things.
Is it more nervous to watch an RCB Punjab final or an RCB MI final, Akshay?
See, final में ना opposition कौन है फर्क ही नहीं पड़ता. It's the final, so it doesn't matter. Punjab or MI, it's just equally nerve-wracking because it's a final at the end of the day. So you're focusing on yourself. You're focusing on the side you support, not on who the opposition is. So it would have been equally nerve-wracking for me.
Okay, we'll come to all the anxiety in the chat as well. Chandan Ramya, good to see you. The anxiety is real. Can't keep calm, like Akshay is mentioning. So, Queen, good to see you, man. It's basically you versus us in terms of me and Akshay. I know Nick supports CSK, and that's not been a season that he's wanted, but it is what it is. Where's AB? Go check him out on our Instagram page because I've done a stellar interview with him. It'll drop soon. We're going to keep our cards close to our chest. We've spoken about a different bunch of things. That's why I find myself in Mumbai today, and tomorrow I'm back in Bangalore. And call me Spidey saying late, but we're here, fashionably late, we could say that. And Besto and Rohit are good versus Hazelwood. Besides that, yeah, it wouldn't have mattered which team made the final. Right, speaking of the final, we're going to preview it in the next 20 minutes or 30 minutes for you guys with y'all. And after that, we'll also kind of understand from you guys, how do you guys build your IPL 2025 11? Last week, we came up with the uncapped 11. We don't want to do the same exercise this week. So we just want to ask you guys, what are your 11s? In fact, the team of the tournament was actually called up by 3 gentlemen. Apparently, their names are Nikhil, Somesh, and Akshay on Beartuck, which is a new show. Go check that out. You've probably heard that somewhere. So we didn't want to kind of overlap it with MNL, but in that particular segment, we'll get your thoughts. Then we'll, of course, address the retirements of Glenn Maxwell and Heinrich Klaasen, and we'll also show you a little snippet of some of the craziest fans that we met on the road of Fancams this year. Right, so we'll start with, of course, the RCB versus Punjab final. But before that, Punjab versus MI, which was on Sunday. Akshay did a watch along. Nikhil was going mad in the WhatsApp chat. So, Nikhil, I'll have first ball with you here. How did MI mess that up?
Well, that is a presentation that I'm sure Mahela Javed and Hardik Pandya will be a part of in, I don't know, a week's time or a few weeks' time, because again, here is the point is the expectations, what you expect from a franchise like MI in terms of homework. I don't think they could have been more worse. Again, not pertinent to what you see on the screen. The trophy is as blur as for Mumbai in the last 6 seasons. Haven't won in the last 6 seasons. One of day for Jasprit, and that can happen. But again, we'll come to Jasprit and how well Josh English played him. But I think for starters, MI had the score. I wouldn't say that they were too few that were out in the park. They did not leave too many in the park. But the bowling, I don't think I've seen. I mean, we've seen a lot of very poor performances with the ball. That MI performance, that reached totally over. If I want to tell people how to not bowl, that is the one where I would play. कि ऐसे नहीं डालते. Especially when you've seen what the opposite sides did. I mean, just look at that one Vaishak over to Johnny Bairstow. What lengths, what lines he bowled, and then what did MI bowl all through the day. And your best bowler does not even bowl. Your premier spinner bowls 2 overs. That is, we don't want to win this game. Please take it away. As bad as it was for Mumbai then.
Crucial toss to win. Shreyas Iyer went against the grains, so to speak, because I generally thought that they could bat first, but he decided to chase. And fair play, Shreyas Iyer. I know you still not unblocked me on Instagram, but you're firefighting and how. And I even used that word in the title, Akshay, purely because of what he said after the RCB defeat. We lost the battle, but not the war. He's walked in a situation chasing 200 odd against Mumbai, which has never been done. And there he is standing at the end. I know he was giving some galis to Shashank Singh, which is hilarious and has made a lot of Instagram reels. But honest to God, did Punjab win that game for you or did Mumbai bottle it?
Oh, it's a bit of both. You cannot possibly try and discredit Punjab. They've done a fantastic job of chasing it, and Shreyas Iyer deserves all the credit that's coming his way. Finally, something that's going his way, given everything that happened before the IPL began, and of course during the auction and all of it. But yeah, Mumbai did a very good job of bottling it. That has to be said, though, both in terms of the way they bowled, and of course towards the end the way they batted as well. They probably left a few too many on the field. And like Nikhil Bhai said, I don't think there's much more to add on that front in terms of Mumbai just not playing like the usual Mumbai Indians side that we've come to know of, in the playoff stage. And this is why I've sort of not been buying the argument that, what, MI playoffs में बहुत अच्छा करती है, RCB playoffs में अच्छा नहीं करती, Punjab playoffs में अच्छा नहीं करती. I get it that the team name is the same, but we need to understand that at the end of the day, IPL does not function like other sporting leagues. The team names, in essence, are placeholders. If you look at it very objectively, MI has only 5 title winners in their side. Someone like a Tilak Varma, who's been fantastic for them, has not been a part of an IPL final. He doesn't know what it is to win an IPL final, to play in the playoffs, to be honest. On the other hand, take a side like RCB, we've got 6 title winners there. So things like these actually play a much bigger role, according to me, than just the team name. Same as the case with Punjab Kings. There are multiple title winners there. The captain is someone who knows what it takes to win a title. So you can't simply say that Punjab Kings to haar jayegi. And I was happy to see that that notion being broken by Shreyas Iyer and his men, of course. So kudos to them, of course. Fantastic job there, and super excited for the final.
Yes, super excited for the final.
Sorry, I'll just add to Akshay's point there. Maybe not add, but I'll just say it doesn't matter how many finals you play. Because, and that is the best example that you can give for Mumbai. That if a side like Mumbai, who's won 5 titles, if they can't find a way to bowl Mitchell Sandberg, if they cannot find a way to make Hardik Pandya, who's won titles as a captain, as a player, enough for him also to understand that he had to be the guy who bowled 4 overs, then it doesn't matter how many finals or how much cricket you've played. It's eventually on that very given day, are you thinking right? Are you backing what has worked for you? If you don't, you will be out no matter who you are. And that is the best way the game treats everyone. You're all equal. Do it on that day.
Yeah, it's food for thought because I was actually watching yesterday's game with a hero cam option with Hardik Pandya being the center point there, how he was marshalling his troops. You could see every emotion in Hardik's face. That over, like Nick's mentioned at earlier the podcast, Reece Topley, he wasn't having it. Then there was a meeting between 4 of them, Sky, Bolty, Hardik and Reece. And then even you felt Hardik maybe underbowled himself at the best of times because he's done it in the World Cup finals. You back him, and he's done pretty well with the ball this season. So it just makes you think about that. I don't know why my alarm keeps going off. Terribly, terribly unprofessional from my side. But look, just some pictures to soak in. We'll show you some stats as well. Commiserations, Mumbai fans, because I know Bumrah did have a tough first over against Inglis as well. And the Punjab batting, to be fair, has been absolutely brilliant. So look, some great stats on display on cricket.com. You look at these numbers, for example, taking on Bumrah and his most expensive overs in IPL. It was one of them last night, 20 runs. And you look at even Rohit Sharma's batting average, for example, in IPL knockouts. It's not something that he would like to know personally, but again, he would just go on to say, I've got 6 IPL downs. I don't care about personal records. And similar with this stat too, 9 dismissals in terms of IPL knockouts, most for any other batter. In fact, equaling Raina in 24 innings. And look, all of this is available on cricket.com. I'll just run through a few more. And Shreyas Iyer, he's having his best IPL season, 603 runs at a rapid strike rate. So props to him, props to the rest of the team, Punjab and Ponting. They've done something which no other Punjab team has done in 11 years to meet the final. So let's see if Shreyas Iyer can actually become the first ever captain in IPL history to win a title with a previous team and then do it with another team this year. Right. Let me go into that final then, guys, because essentially, this is what we're going to see. Whether Patidar is on the left side of the trophy or right side, I'm not really too sure. When anyone asks you all this morning, in terms of Tuesday morning, or even after this podcast gets over, Akshay, how do you explain to layman what this final is? Can you give context from first you, and then I'll come to Nikhil and how he views it?
Wait, when you ask that, do you mean what it means to us, or just what is the IPL final like?
What it means to us, what this particular final is generally for the neutral, so on and so forth. You mentioned in the last podcast as well, it's the first final in 10 years that 2 teams are contesting without an IPL. So things like that. Any more context that we're missing out on?
Yeah, there's clearly a lot of context, right? Like, firstly, of course, it's the first time in nearly 10 seasons that we are seeing 2 teams who have not won a title before play the final. That's the first thing. And secondly, these are also 2 teams. Punjab Kings themselves have seen some sort of resurgence in terms of their fan following. Of course, the team has done really well, and that's got a long way. That's gone a long way in ensuring that fans also feel loyal towards them. But online, you've seen a lot more support coming their way, and that's also good to see. We've always been talking about how we need more teams having loyal supporters. Only then will the league also grow. Last year, it was probably SRH's turn to see a resurgence in their following, and this year it's Punjab Kings. So it's that firstly is very good to watch. And secondly, with RCB, of course, they are arguably one of the biggest sides in terms of social media and the kind of fan following they have. And it's sort of become a social media meme that, you know what, RCB kabhi cup nahi jeet sakti. But over the last 5-6 years, this almost seems like a culmination of what we've seen over the last 5-6 years. What started with Mike Hesson, Sanjay Bangar, and now it's continued with the likes of Mo Bobat, Andy Flower. This seems to be the right way to see it sort of hit its peak, hit the right note. But yeah, Shreyas Iyer would definitely be one person who would be happy to spoil someone else's party. Like he said, after the eliminator, or rather after the first qualifier, they might have lost the battle. The war still remains. He's more than happy to win the war. He is someone who's won previous battles and wars himself. So that's what makes it even more exciting, to be honest. And make no mistake, there's also a repeat of this match in that it was also Rajat Patidar's side taking on Shreyas Iyer's side in this match final last November. And once again, it is Rajat Patidar's side taking on Shreyas Iyer's side. So, kafi kuch, there's a lot of subplots, there's a lot of subtext there. And fingers crossed, man. Fingers crossed we get the final we deserve. And by that, I don't mean our team wins it. By that, I mean it is very well contested. We see both teams fight it out. It goes down till the end. That's all that matters. I know I sound very diplomatic, but I genuinely think this is the first time I've possibly been remotely fine with the fact that agar harti bhi hai na, I know my team's done well, but this would be a team I'd be happy to lose to, simply because Punjab Kings also equally deserve to win the title.
Interesting point you made there, because a few, I'm pretty sure the viewers watching this wouldn't have known. And I'm pretty sure you cricket fans back home listening to this, in your head, you could perceive it as anything. One guy told me today, saying, last year, sir, Kavya Maran lost in the final. So this year, another woman losing the final in Preeti Zinta. I was like, how do you want to look at it? Cricket fans are crazy, right? They could just use different things. One guy said, don't you think it's unfair for RCB? They haven't played in Ahmedabad there this year, and Punjab just did, so they know the conditions. But on the other side, Punjab, of course, have not got the rest that RCB have enjoyed since that Q1. So, Nix, what is your context? What are your talking points before the final that you're really curious to see how it all unravels in Ahmedabad on Tuesday night?
First, I'm very happy for a new winner. I was on that rant since March. Want a new winner, want a new winner, want a new winner. so many signs from the universe as well. And all the events that I thought would happen in the IPL were based on the fact that we will see a new winner. So, and I think why it's important for the tournament is you do not want 2 to 3 teams always starting with that aura ke, by they will always win. You do not want that for a tournament. So I think in that sense, it is great. And RCB have been consistent for a while now. So it is good that after a few years, you always want these stereotypes to be breaking. So I think RCB have already done that. But what Shreyas has done with Punjab, I think, is incredible because they've always been a side that has lacked identity. They've always been, we are some of this, some of that, some of this, but now you know what Punjab is. And this is what I think a couple of seasons back they tried with Trevor Bayliss, where they said, we'll play shots every ball and we'll always be aggressive. This is the execution of it. And then for Shreyas Iyer and Ricky Ponting to do this with an uncapped core. So I still stand by my point that I made in the preview that if you think about it, Punjab have still not used Hardy. They haven't had the best use of Bartlett. So my point on Punjab was always about their replacements, and are they your best replacements? Well, you've not had to use them. You had to go to elsewhere to find your options for a number 3. Aaron Hardy can bat at number 3. He can bowl, but you have to use Omars and others. So for a fact that a team like Punjab can make it to the final on the back of 5 to 6 uncapped Indians coming together, that speaks volumes about the kind of stuff that you can do with a good captain, a good leadership group. So credit to Papa Ponting that he's been able to find a way, clear role assigned to everybody in the group, and they are yet to have their overseas contingent fire. To be very honest with you, Josh Inglis and Marco Jansen did it, but otherwise, Omar Zai hasn't had the impact that you would expect him to have. And so is the case with another Australian who may have played, may not have played. So again, we'll have to wait on that. So as Akshay said, it's a good time that you're not going to feel bad. Or you're not going to feel, they didn't deserve only. It is good this side win. I don't think that will happen tomorrow. You will all be happy for the side that wins. But it is cliche, but both teams have won hearts enough. And they've shown enough promise to you that there is a lot of things that you can expect from this side in the coming time as well. Whether it is Punjab, whether it is Bangalore. It is multiple people turning up for Bangalore. And it is an uncapped core that is doing it for Punjab. So no same way to cut the lot as you keep saying. So as perfect as you can get for the tournament.
Yeah, I mean, it truly is going to be something where we're going to be glued upon. Every particular player will be in the spotlight over there. And even if you look at RCB and how they're preparing for the final in Ahmedabad, it's clear they put out multiple videos to just see how everything's flowing in that dressing room really nicely. Punjab as well, like Nick's pointed out, it's quite clear that they've been doing some great things. And IPL is a long enough evidence and sample size to tell you that a team is doing really, really well. Let's just deep dive into Punjab a little bit more, Akshay, in terms of this final. And I'm just thinking about the inspiring journey right through and through, right? Like, if you look at their route to the final, it was pretty much identical to RCB in a way, because result for result, punch for punch, they were going to go in the same way. What stood out in their rise to the top? And what made them kind of contenders, even though they've not been a playoff team since 11 years?
Firstly, of course, they came up with a more than decent squad. They had a very balanced starting 11-12 as well in terms of the kind of options they had. In fact, if you just look as recently as the first qualifier, you had someone like a Kyle Jamieson batting at number 11. So that just spoke about the kind of batting depth they were playing with firstly, and they also had a lot of good bowling options. They'd come up with a decent bench as well, which is what kept them in good stead when some of their first choice players weren't in form or weren't even available for that matter. That first game comes to mind, to me. Punjab versus GT in Ahmedabad, coincidentally, where Shreyas Iyer scored 97. They scored 243. It did sort of, set our expectations rightly. You know what? Punjab Kings seemed like a very good side before the season began. And with this performance, they've also made it very clear that they intend on playing a certain way. The identity that Nikhil Bhai spoke about, that identity was very clear, that they were here to actually fight it out. 111 all out. You would imagine कि भाई अब तो match यहाँ पे हार चुके हैं, so let's just move on. Let's probably try and brush this off as a bad performance. But Instead, they came back, they fought 62 for 1. The opposition needs less than 50 runs. And from there they managed to defend it. Not only defend it how? So there have been some spectacular performances. Of course, individual brilliance has been Priyan Sharia. That 100 comes to mind versus the Chennai Super Kings. The way he took on some of the bowlers, he's arguably been one of the finds of the season. Prabhsimran Singh himself has had a stellar season this time around, 500 plus runs, at a strike rate in excess of 150. This is going on to show the kind of pedigree he has. Nehal Vadera has been a pleasant surprise for me. So happy to see that. So the uncapped code, firstly, the fact that not only did they choose to back an uncapped code at the start of an auction cycle. Usually you see such experiments being done towards the end of an auction cycle because you know, iske baad to you have a mega auction where you can probably regroup and rework your structure. But to come up with something like this at the start of an auction cycle means that they are willing to put their money where their mouth is. And that is very refreshing to see, firstly. And I think Ponting probably here has been given complete authority, something he spoke about even at the auction. You know what, I've told them, give me 5 years or give me 3 years, something on those lines. Aap mujhe complete authority do, and I will come up with the performances you guys deserve. And you've already seen that first up. So yeah, happy for this side for sure.
Yeah, the thing with Punjab is, I mean, who knows what they can really achieve if they do win the IPL, and then that could just really propel them to be a solid team even in the coming IPLs. I mean, Nick's mentioned it over there, the fact that their overseas players haven't really shown bright apart from Inglis and a couple of other performances. My only concern is I don't want Ben Cutting to be reincarnated in Marcus Stoinis, because honest to God, like if he does what Ben Cutting did to RCB in 2016, it'll be absolutely shocking. Nick's, anything else that you want to point out about Punjab that maybe an average cricket fan wouldn't know? That this season, that they've done certain things, right? They maybe have used tactics and gut feel, right? Why do you think they've made the final compared to all the other teams who tried and failed?
Yeah, I think to me, one of the biggest factors is Shreyas's captaincy. And, a lot of captaincy at times, we are also very afraid to pinpoint and call stuff out because we don't know who's leading. But with Punjab and with Shreyas, you now know who is leading. And it is very, very evident. And if you compare the bowling attack that Punjab has had, I don't think it's quite the best attack that you will put down on paper in terms of even in the qualifier too. You man to man, Trent Bowl, Bumrah, Hardik, Stantner, Reece Topley isn't comparable to Arshdeep, Jamieson, Vaishak, Omar Zai, Chet. No, it's not. But you look at the way they bowled and you could clearly see MI were not even playing at the same venue. They were playing at some other venue in their mind because of the lens they bowled. So for a guy like Shreyas to be able to find that from, we keep speaking about finding the best out of players. That's what Punjab have done. That's what Shreyas Iyer has done. And the good example of that was that defense of 112. You don't defend 112 just randomly. Yes, things have to go your way. Yes, Rahane did not review. Who knows what could have happened? But they've taken their chance. They've taken their chance and they've shown you, okay, we got hit. But now this is what we'll do to you. And now let us see what you can do. And that is why I feel tomorrow is a massive, massive test for Shreyas Iyer and co that we know what happened in Q1. And we saw what they were trying to do in Q2. That, okay, everybody wants to go after Josh Inglis. Now, Josh Inglis went after Bumrah. It came off, everybody's great. You went after Jasprit Bumrah. But they were trying to do that with Hazelwood as well. So, do they do it tomorrow? Will they do it? Will it come off? And that is what builds the excitement for a common man, that they are happy to walk the talk irrespective of what happens. So, of course, it is going to be fine margins. We don't know how it will work out. But at least they are staying true to their thing that we will play this way and we will give ourselves the best chance. So I think it is usage, captaincy, and I can't find too many, how did Punjab do this kind of moments, which I can with quite a few teams in this tournament. So well done to Punjab on that front as well.
Well done for calling out those points. And before I move on to RCB, we of course have to address the chat where I've not taken any comments pretty much entire night, but we will. And in case we missed earlier ones that you guys were talking about Mumbai, we'll save them for the 12th man corner. There's plenty of things coming up on cricket.com, let alone MNL today. 406 people cumulatively watching this live. I would request all the lads on Twitter to drop on to YouTube because that's where an AB de Villiers interview is going to be out soon. And I should tell you, if you guys are watching on YouTube right now, because it's the IPL final, if you guys are RCB fans, Punjab fans, neutral fans, hey, drop a like and spread the channel's name to people that you guys think will be interested in us. Right, Santosh Sharma saying, despite the PBKS management having their differences within themselves, it is fascinating to see their team reach the final. Teams are able to mature by drawing line from inside noise to perform on the field. Good point there. Sukhveer saying, we have seriously over-delivered on our potential this year, so the fall is also steep like Q1. Sukhveer, good luck tomorrow. And let's see if you, Gaming saying, Tanya, the rest of the cricket.com Punjab fans can have their last laugh. Andy saying, to be fair, that's probably down to the planning more than Shreyas are coming up on the fly as well. Sure. I mean, there are a few things that we don't know, we can't see, we're blindsided to, even though we have hero cam, this cam, that cam. It what goes on in that sanctity of the dressing room. And clearly the communication between Shreyas and Ponting has been working marvelously, so we can't really criticize them. In the last two matches, Punjab's opener saved the best for the last. Again, they were up to some great attacks. RCB and MI probably have the two best attacks, so they were found out. And Asmit saying, we have DK Shukar's blessings, we should be good to go tomorrow. Let's go on to RCB then and talk about them a little bit, because they've been a transformation. Honest to God, Akshay, we've seen everything kind of unravel in just 1 year. You think about away wins, you think about professional management, you think about how every player who's come in has taken his chance. And you think about RCB actually winning games, which they would have probably fluffed their lines in the years gone by. You think about even the nucleus of that team, it's so different to any RCB team that we've ever seen. What do you put it down to? Is it just purely DK's debut as coach, Andy Flower and Mo Bobat, and that synergy, and then it's kind of trickled into the players? How do you kind of see this great journey being and making the final for RCB?
I mean, it's been great to watch, to be honest. This was also Mo Bobat and Andy Flower's first shot at building a squad. The last time, in the last season, they were handed a squad, so there's only so much you can do with it, which is why I wanted to hold on to my thoughts before jumping to conclusions over there. It's one thing to build a squad of your own and then run it the way you want it to be run, and completely different thing for you to be handed a squad जो आपने मतलब build भी नहीं किया, and then you have to work with it. So that way, first of all, I was very happy with the code that they came up with at the end of the auction. Was very pleased with some of the strategic choices that they went ahead with, and that was something that they themselves spoke about in the content that came out post the auction and in the last couple of days as well. What's gone on behind the closed doors. There was a clear sort of initiative being taken towards not going for big names for the sake of it, about avoiding that, about looking for more match winners, about something as simple as jo money hai, jo paisa that needs to be spent. It's not spent on only one part of the team. It's equally balanced in terms of how they spend, about the kind of players they go for. That was again very pleasing to see, and it's also bore fruits for them. It's one thing to buy players or build a team at the auction. Once again, you might have the best of teams after the auction, but to be able to get the best out of these players as a whole is a completely different art. And that's something Andy Flower has actually made a name for himself in. Look at the Multan Sultans in the past. Look at the way he's handled the Gulf Giants. Some of the players who've thrived under him, for the uninitiated, someone like a Tim David and Andy Flower go a long way back. He made his PSL debut in 2021. He made a name for himself in that season during the COVID years. And it was Andy Flower who was the head coach then. If you guys remember then, 57 for 4, 60 for 5, 40 for 4. Situations like these, वहां से 170, 180 तक लेके गए थे Tim David. From there to now, what he's become, of course. So stuff like that, man management, personal management. Andy Flower is highly regarded within the player circles to be someone who has a keen eye and ear for players. So he's been very good with that. Mo Bobat is someone who probably brings in that, data angle, who is a lot more objective, who is probably a bit more numbers oriented. And that's where he adds value to the kind of choices they go ahead with. And DK seems to be a breath of fresh air, at least the way Andy, the players themselves and Mo have spoken about him. They all have only good things to say. And that's what you want to hear, right? Like, for the longest time, RCB was known to be the team that just depended on superstars to win them games. And from there to now see players actually thank the management, the team, the way they handled Surya Sharma post the auction. Apparently, he was suffering from a slip disc throughout 2024. Something we weren't privy to. All we were saying is, "Kya bura khel raha." Me myself, I wasn't one bit pleased with that. But I was like, "Yaar, DPL bhi kharab gaya tha. KKR ke liye bhi acha nahi kiya tha. Why did they go for him?" And then you hear the story behind, Surya Sharma's sort of, change in trajectory post the auction. Apparently, they sent him to London with Pipey, of course, our assistant physiotherapist. He spent a month in London with them and then got operated, underwent rehabilitation, came back, and now he's been performing more than what we expected him to, in all fairness, because we weren't really expecting too much from him. And for him to have done so well and win a Player of the Match award in the playoffs game, once again, not something on any of our bingo cards. So happy to see that. So that change, it's more than the on-field results, the changes that were made off the field. Once again, the focus being on processes, on building a system that helps us provide consistency and results over an extended period, rather than focusing on short-term gains. कि भाई ये player शायद यहाँ पे कुछ कर ले, ये match हम जीत ले. The focus hasn't been on just winning this specific game. The focus clearly has been on maximizing each player's returns, and they've done a really good job of that. And yeah, it's all there for everyone to see.
Yeah, Nix, I mean, I'd get your 2 pence on RCB as well, because let's face it, the fact that Akshay mentioned those names, where there's so many other names behind the scenes that we're not even privy to. I know people will say Freddie Bile or Malo, or for example, even Omkar Salvi. All their additions and inputs have been good. In one of the videos that put up RCB this morning, Mo Bobat goes on to say something very important in that, where he says there is transparency throughout the whole system, whether it's player to player or coach to player or coach to coach. They're giving each other really good feedback. And sometimes in a dressing room environment, you need that. So I don't know whether that's the sole factor, but like Akshay mentioned, it's a culmination of things. Next, talk to me. I mean, even from your CSK tinted glasses, how do you perceive this team as RCB in terms of 2025? Because they've been never like this in 17 years, let's be honest. What's turned right for them? Is it all the coaches and the players? Is it more off-field than on-field for you as well?
Me, firstly, I don't have any tinted glasses. In terms of when I look at cricket, you like a team, you support a team, that's only during the game and just for that duration. But I think it is something we saw coming in terms of processes, which is what Akshay spoke about from the time Mike Essen came into the picture. It is from that time only that I think the change has already begun in terms of how distributed the roles are, in terms of we are not dependent on 2 to 3 people only in a department. There will be clear role assigned to different people in different departments, and then we see how they come off. And what you have to realize is sometimes it may not come off immediately, which is what happened in the first half last year. Both of you wanted everybody to be sold. I was there of that. I was part of that conversation. But then you can understand why you wanted it, because you did not see results coming off those process. One change they make, Swapnil Singh comes in. Suddenly roles are far more clear. Everybody is able to execute what they want. Virat has another, we've lost count on the number of times Virat has evolved into what the team wants him to be. So that is also there. You've replaced Faf with an even higher intent opener in Phil Salt. And how great Phil Salt has been for RCB. He's had back-to-back crazy campaigns for 2 franchises who haven't done much in the recent past in terms of making it to the finals. So all of these calls, as you know, even DK explained to that, and you can see that when he viewed that data, that 16 run over and how often can Phil Salt hit that. Those nitty-gritties coming out is what has made us realize that this is what goes into making a good team. And that is where I think RCB have got to in terms of how they've looked at it differently as compared to the previous years, where it is name more than the game. Now it is the game and then the name that is playing a part. So that's a very good change for RCB, and you see that in the bowling department as well. Right from the start of the season, all of us had them in the top 4, but we're all still a bit perturbed. Krunal Pandya, not sure. Suresh Sharma, not sure. But what Hazelwood and Bhuvi have done is, and even Yash Dayal hasn't clicked as much as last year. So for a bowling side to still have 2 people do so well that others have been able to find a way, that Romario comes in, he bowls well, he takes wickets in his first over. When can it happen? When you have a very clear role that I'm not going to try anything else. This is my role. I will back it. We then see what happens. So in terms of process, this is far more repeatable. This is far more sustainable as a franchise, that if you miss somebody, it is easier for you to replace, because you are clear in your mind that this is the role that we are looking for. So, well done to RCB, and it is only good for the tournament that you have more teams who are looking more as a unit as compared to a group of individuals fighting.
I agree with those points completely. I mean, you look at RCB season and some games where the overseas players have stepped up, the role clarity is there. Overseas pacer, we've ticked that properly with Hazelwood, and then even the overseas opener and Salt. Honest to God, it's been such a great buy. We can't even say a word bad as RCB fans. Right. We will of course get our predictions out right now, and we'll just quickly talk tactics in terms of matchups. We'll tell you what the pitch is like on Tuesday as well. Keep your comments come through and smash a like if you're first-time listeners of Monday Night Live. We are episode 82, and it's good things coming your way. Darshan Senthil saying a lot of things lead me to believe RCB are generally getting the best out of the players they have. Look at how DDP has evolved. Look at how easily Mind has fit in as a late replacement. It is facts that you're spitting, Darshan Senthil, and Cricket.com adding, saying the fact that Josh Hazelwood stayed back with the franchise among all the players who were involved in the WTC final says a lot about the connection between the player and the franchise. Thoughts? I mean, it's similar that could be said about Jacob Bethel. I know he went away to play for England against West Indies, but for a long time, he was with us before he actually kind of made his way through there, because he missed the England-Zimbabwe test, and every pundit in England was kind of getting a little riled up about the IPL. Both teams are top heavy. Will the power play seal the game? Right, let's talk about the final then, Akshay. Apparently, centre wicket, a mixture of red and black soil. How do you view it? Is it toss dependent, this venue in Ahmedabad? And give us a little gut feel of what is the key battle in tomorrow's clash.
It's just hard to be objective, man. Okay, but fair enough. In terms of what to expect from the final tomorrow, of course, like you mentioned, it is a mixture of red and black soil over there. But importantly, it is a night game, and also in the last few days, you've seen rainfall, so you can expect you also to play a bit of a role over there, which makes it a lot more, favorable to the side chasing. I'll put it that way, in the recent past, that is. But if you look at
how will dew won't come if there is rain?
Not rain, Baba, in general. Like in the last game also.
But dew nahi tha. There was no dew last game. There is no dew last game. Pitch got better to bat just generally. Pitch got better to bat just generally.
Okay. So second innings, clearly the side batting second has had an upper hand, especially in the last game. And also you saw that in the latter half, like post the resumption, jo bhi games hue the, you could see that it's not as difficult as it was before the break happened in IPL, where sides batting first clearly had an advantage. You saw 6 out of the 7 games that happened in the league stage being won by the team batting first in Ahmedabad. Now, but if you compare that to what happened yesterday, where Shreyas Iyer and his men successfully chased down a 200 plus total for the first time against Mumbai Indians. So that just goes on to show, maybe the side chasing will sort of have a bit of an edge to them. And you've seen that historically, Ahmedabad has always been a win the toss, chase and win the game kind of venue. But because of the fact that they have red soil surfaces, black soil surfaces, these 25 surfaces have unke paas. So it's hard to just brush everything with the same brush. But given that, of course, we'd all love to see that. But given the venue and given how Punjab themselves have played, I would imagine both sides would want to win the toss and opt to bowl first.
Okay, interesting. Nikhil, do you agree with that? And also, I'll come back to you guys about team news, but just to get this out of the way, do you agree with what Akshay is saying? And what is the strength for each of these teams? Is it just chasing on the night? Or sometimes, how people say, oh yeah, it's a final, get runs on the board, scoreboard pressure. So which way are you kind of going towards, Nikhil?
I think my only gut feel is we will see a side defender total. Of course, I can be wrong. I just feel I don't think Mumbai even were anywhere close to where they should have been as a bowling side yesterday. I don't think 200 should have been chased as easily. I mean, if Mumbai can't hit any 6 in the last 6 overs, you can't have Shreyas Iyer hitting full balls to 6. And that is just no. So I think the pressure of the final plays a massive role. We saw already what happened in Q1, how a side felt they could keep going, but they didn't. In terms of toss, I do agree with Akshay. Sometimes you've seen the side chasing, feel that the that the deck is better to bat on, and we've seen that it's clear. But in 8 games, 6 have been won by the side batting first. So if you do get to that above par score, you can defend it. And the thing with big scores is the bowling side has a far greater margin as compared to the batting side. Both the sides have deeper batting lineup. But to me, whoever loses lesser multiple wickets in an over will win. You look at the 2 games that RCB lost, the one game, the SRH game, they lost 2 wickets in an over when they lost Rajat and they lost Romario Shepherd. They found it hard to come back. So to me, in the chase, it never happened yesterday. So that has played a part. So I have no problem if a side loses the toss and they have to bat first. I will not think that they should worry. All they should just think is, maybe I'm too conservative, but do not lose the game in the power play. I think that is a clear no for me, that do not chase 80-90 in the power play, not in the first three. I'm speaking exactly how I spoke about RCB when we did the video of how to win at Chinnaswamy. Give those first 2 overs to the bowling side, see what is happening, and then you go big. And the thing that RCB have to do is, they don't have to do anything new. They've beaten RCB. They've beaten Punjab in Mulnampur by taking new ball wickets. They've beaten them by taking new ball wickets in the qualifier one as well. So to me, the road is very clear for Punjab. Do not give new ball wickets to Bhuvi and Josh Hazelwood. And please don't hack at Josh Hazelwood. I know Josh Inglis can do it against Bumrah, but in the big final, again, if you're chasing, it's a different proposition. But if you're batting first, I don't want that to happen. And for RCB, I think they need a good start. And once they get it, I think they are sorted. So to me, a power play will decide the game, and the side batting first may go on to win the final.
The thing with both these sides, I was just looking at their results. Both have enough evidence to suggest that they can bat first and win it, and they can chase and win it. And with RCB, I think that gut feel for me is a little bit more because Hazelwood showed his absolute class, say somewhere like Mumbai, for example, where Hardik Pandya came back, took the game away potentially, and then Bhuvi and all these guys, Krunal Pandya, I shouldn't forget, did really, really good to keep that back. And similarly, if they do chase, even though it's a final, they do have the batting depth to kind of get through over there. Team news then. But before team news, let's ask you about the weather. Now, apparently the forecast is heavy rains for Tuesday and Wednesday in Ahmedabad. Now, what does happen, Akshay? Just tell the viewers this. How does it play out if, God forbid, literally hailstorms in Ahmedabad, no particular even ball being bowled, Punjab win it then, right?
Yeah, that's correct. In the event of rain and nothing is possible, so firstly, they'll try and see if a 5-over side game is possible. If that also does not happen, then they'll try and play a super over. If that also does not happen, of course, let's post the reserve day. Since there are questions asking about reserve day, there is a reserve day. But if no play is possible across both the days, then they'll try and first eke out a 5-over game. Agar wo nahi hota, then a super over. Agar wo bhi nahi hota, then by virtue of having finished first in the group stage or higher than RCB in the group stage, then they will, they will be awarded the trophy. So they will be winners. No, there isn't the concept of joint winners in IPL. Of course, I don't think either side will be thinking about that right now because itna barish to nahi hoga ki kam se kam thoda bahut game now, so you don't need to worry about it as things stand. And from what I understand, the rain forecast that predicted about 90% rain or 80% rain 3-4 days ago, it's already come down to 25%. So I'm not expecting a lot of rain or, sort of no game happening whatsoever because of it.
Yeah, we saw even yesterday's game, of course, we marred by rain, but then it ended up at 1:30. We've seen GT-CSK 2023 final where it went on for God knows an all eternity, 3 days, as Nikhil points out. So, look, you guys can check any weather app you want. Probably drop some comments after this podcast is done in terms of what's going to happen weather. Finally, before we conclude our final preview, team news, gentlemen. Now, my 2 questions. One, is Tim David back? Apparently, a few sources around RCB tell me that could be Timmy David on Tuesday evening, fingers crossed. And secondly, Nikhil, more importantly to you, Chahal, does he come back to play RCB? Because they left him out in Q1, they got him back maybe for the matchup against Surya, and he got him out. So I'll start with Punjab's team news, and I'll come to Akshay for RCB's team news. Nikhil, what are they going to do? Are they going to make any changes with the team which just beat Mumbai 1-8 to go?
I think Vihar is the only change I would think about making. unless you feel very strongly that Chahal can stop Patidar and Jitesh, then good luck. But I don't think it is going to be that easy. And we haven't seen Chahal being defensively good. Yes, he got the wicket of Sky yesterday, but I think the job was done by the Pacers, which helped Chahal not worry too much about his economy rate and stuff. I think Brar, to me, is a straight walk-in. Plenty of right-handed batters. You do not have to hide Brar. And if you need a last ball for, Brar can hit it. No
Yeah,
early
imagine a
visualizations. Just
last
say,
ball for, imagine a left-hander does that against RCB. Almost like life's come full circle for Punjab, because I remember Piyush Chawla doing the same thing against Punjab in 2014 to win that final. Akshay, look, you and me are similar in terms of we don't want to see any new faces in the final, and I'm pretty sure even RCB think alike. They're not going to bring in Tim Seifert, they're not going to bring in Muzarabani or anyone else, no matter even how horrid Liam Livingston is out of form right now. What have you heard, and what is your gut feel? Do you think Tim David will just put his body on the line because he doesn't have really crazy cricket coming up? Do you think he's also desperate to be part of the starting 11? And what does your team look like for the final?
I mean, as much as I'd like to see a half-fit Tim David, I don't think it would be possible and feasible even. And even ethically right to, मतलब पैर बेचारा हिला नहीं पा रहा है तो आ जाके batting कर, finishing कर importantly. So I don't think that would be right on our part to expect from him. Like you said, of course, I'm not expecting any unforced changes. So no Tim Seifert, no Blessing Mutsi. But in case in the event of someone having a niggle, someone falling ill or something like that, then they might possibly look at those options. But I would still back Liam Livingston. And again, I wouldn't mind seeing Liam Livingston tomorrow, because I feel Ahmedabad, Kalka, when you're fit, if the surface plays similar to what it did yesterday, and if he gets delivery similar to what Shreyas Iyer was fed yesterday, even if they're length balls, I think Ahmedabad is a venue that Liam Livingston wouldn't mind batting at. But again, his form itself has been so bad. So I'm just hoping agar wo ek to bhi connect kar pata, I think this is a venue he'll enjoy. And I want to see what Punjab things do with the Brad Chahal conundrum, because they've primarily worked with one spinner throughout the season, barring the RCB games. So if they want to bring in Brad, does Vaishak go out, who I think did not have too bad an outing yesterday, or does Chahal go out because he might not be, probably just as effective as they would have wanted it to be? So they might be looking at that. And should Brad come in for Chahal, that means Livingston has lesser things to be worried about, because it's just one spinner to contend with, and matlab, you would expect him to buy kam se kam finger spinner ko to sambhal lo. So that could also be the case. But yeah, I'm not seeing any changes right now. Tim David, by the looks of it, I did see videos of him walking fairly normally, but even then, yeah, matlab, it's the final, it's a very big encounter. You just want to have your 11 players fully fit and raring to go.
So you're saying you wouldn't play an 80% fit Tim David over horribly out of form Liam Livingston?
See, yeah, it depends on the kind of net sessions and how's he been when he's gone for a hit. Is he connecting them well? Does he still think he's in the game? Because it's a completely different ball game altogether. For me to sit here, AC room mein baith ke ye bolna ek baat hai, and to actually go out there and perform, it's a completely different thing. So as things stand, I would say, yeah, just back Livingston and let's see how that goes.
Okay, speaking of Livingston, Darshan Senthil. Going on.
One radical idea. Start with 3 overseas players and use Living only if needed.
Or use bat first में काम होगा ना, but मतलब
obviously.
It'll be some story though. Imagine Livingston proves his 8.75 crores against his former franchise. I know there's a lot of players tomorrow on that team sheet who's played for both these franchises.
Exactly. I hope this happens, man. I hope what Avni said and what Santosh is saying, I'm hoping that happens.
That is true. Liam Livingston can bowl and field well also, saying Kushal Shah. Those skill sets also matter. Yeah, I agree. Don't play 80% Tim David. Who knows? Liam Livingston might be the bent carding for us in the final. If Tim David is fully fit, then yeah, sure, play him without second thought. And Syed Arib Mastan, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe, my friend, and tell us who you're backing as well. We'll move on from the particular final chat And as you can see, who knows whether it's celebrations galore for RCB is Akshay's background just goes into fireworks. 500 of you all watching, and it's been a while that you guys have seen us on Monday Night Live. Smash a like and tell a friend about cricket.com. There's great things in store for sure. Remember, if you guys need any sort of reminding, tomorrow, 7:30, we're going to be doing the watch-along for the RCB vs Punjab game. Akshay and me will be there. And there's already great content which has already gone out of our channel. Right, let's move on to the eminent question of the night, because at the end of the day, the IPL is going to be done and dusted in about 24 hours to maybe 30 hours from now, to be more specific. Now, we wanted to ask you all, and this is an exercise you guys should do post podcast in the comments, and we'll read out some of the great teams that you guys have conjured up in the next MNL. What does your IPL 11 of 2025 look like? What me, Nix, and Akshay can just maybe discuss for 2 minutes now are who are the must-haves in that IPL 2025 11, because these boys have come up with that team of the tournament. Go check it out in BetHuck. And if you guys need any sort of reminding of who they've picked, we'll put it out, all of that stuff, if you guys follow our social medias. But Nix and Akshay, according to you, who do you think there should be 3 names out of the 11, which is a must-have in this year's team of the season? Nix, I'll start with you.
Thanks, sir. Easier to start with me. 3 very easy names. Shreyas Iyer, Jasprit Bumrah, and Josh is good.
I had the exact same 3 names. Wow, bhai. Tino le liye, batao.
So what about Sai for y'all? Is he not a number 1 on that list?
Sure starter tune bola na. Sure, 100% sure. Yes. Shreyas Bumrah and bowling FC bhai.
No, that's true. Fair. Is there any other player who kind of comes into contention when we're asking that question? I mean, for me,
Sky.
I would have probably said, yeah, Sky for me. I would have him there. I would have Hazelwood there, like you said. And I want to say either Sai or Virat, because the openers have been very, very fruitful this season. Whether you look at it from a Punjab perspective, RCB perspective, other teams doing well thanks to their opening partnership. Any wild card entries into that 11? I mean, people might not presume that this guy's done well, but you'd be like, yeah, this guy's a good shot. Nikhil?
Yeah, better देख लो हमारा. उसमें we've had a couple of guys there. Just to give you one name, and the name that brought about from me, Vipraj Nigam. I would have him.
Okay, super. Vipraj Nigam was also in all our uncapped 11s. Akshay, any wildcard entries for you? And then we'll, of course, tell all the viewers to go check out that BetHuck team of the tournament. We put out a reel and a long video, so you guys will enjoy that Hindi analysis. So for you, any wildcard entries? I mean, you mentioned your 3 names there, which is similar to Nick's, but is your wildcard also similar?
No, I would. I mean, I really think Ayush Badoni deserves a special mention. Matlab, include karte bhi ho to he's done a very good job of playing across roles, across sort of positions. Jo bhi expect kiya hai unki team ne unse, he's delivered time and time again. A very good player, and unfortunately, man, I just hope he goes to a side that knows how to use him much better. And that's the sad part, right? We talk about multiple such players across teams. कि यार ये वो team में होता तो वहाँ पे एकदम से ही होता, वो ये team में होता. So I hope, at least at the very least, I hope LSG themselves give him a fixed position somewhere and use him the way he needs to be used.
Indeed. I mean, you guys can, of course, let me know in the comments right now. Maybe literally after the show gets over, no problem. Random shouts said by the chat. Zenit saying, way above 200 strike rate, have him there. Navandeer saying, Adyabar, good to see you. Mitchell Marsh deserves a shout out. Stupidly good performance. And Super Striker 2025, Vaibhav Suryavanshi for Vaibhav. For Zenith. Santosh Sharpa saying, Sai, Josh and Sky for him are the 3 names. Zenit saying Iyer, Sai and Bumrah for him. So again, it's something we love debating on. Generally, every tournament gets over, whether it's the World Cup or the IPL or the Asia Cup. We always like to make our 11s out of it. And it's a good interactive sort of thing that you guys can do as well. Right, before we move on to the best of the rest, the IPL has concluded. And very pleased to say that our Fancams team, including me, we were privileged to go to some of the best stadiums in the country, and we saw some crazy fans, which we put out a video of already. Here's a little promo in case you missed that video, which is available on YouTube.
We can't handle RCB winning. RCB has the worst fan base. Yeah, madam. आने का मारने का जाने का नहीं तो नहीं रहने का मुंबई चा राजा रोहित शर्मा
Your big king, Rohit Sharma.
He is bakwas.
If it's a movie, it's Bollywood. If it's cinema, it's Hollywood. But if it's absolute cinema, it's Howzzaat Hazelwood.
RCB third class management RCB.
I love Virat Kohli.
Yes, of course. I love you.
What
he can do, Dhoni? Even if Dhoni's father or grandfather comes, he cannot win today.
What's the banter like right now?
It was an amazing match.
Honestly, sometimes I look at that and I know I'm part of most of the videos, but the fans are the lifeblood of any sport. And sometimes when we go to the ground and get those authentic, raw, unfiltered reactions, whether it's an uncle, whether it's an auntie, whether it's a small child who said Rohit Sharma's bakwas, it's literally what those people think at that moment in time. So that's why I think Fancams has been successful. And even this year, it has done itself a world of good. Right, time to move on to the best of the rest because we have two retirements apparently this week. Heinrich Klaasen and Glenn Maxwell, and we'll talk all about it in this. Now, best of the rest, in case you guys don't know, on Monday Night Live, we always choose a big topic, which is done out of the way, in this case, the IPL final. And today, right now, on the best of the rest, we're also going to, of course, talk to you about India A against the England Lions. How did I forget that? And Karan Nair being right and someone needing to eat humble pie. Not Akshay, not Nix, but others out there who are doubting me on my social media handles. But we'll start with the retirement news. And then we'll, of course, even talk about England West Indies in a bit. Glenn Maxwell has retired from ODI cricket. Now, this man has probably played the best knock in ODIs. We saw it 2 years ago against Afghanistan in Mumbai. And he's also gone on to say in that statement, which he's put on Instagram, saying, I'm looking forward to the World Cup in India next year, the T20 World Cup, that is. So where do you guys stand on this news? What do you make of it? Akshay, you can go first here. Maxi retired from ODIs.
Yeah, I mean, it was, to be honest, a right move for him as well, given the kind of players coming through. And he probably wants to focus a bit more on going around the world as a T20 globetrotter. So fair point, and he knows that there's only so much cricket left in him. T20 is a format that he's excelled in, that he's made a name for himself in. And ODIs in general, like there aren't too many ODIs coming up, and probably also given the fact that the next sort of major tournament for Australia is the 2027 ODI World Cup, a good 2.5 years from now. So all of that would have played a role, right? Like probably he must have considered, what 2.5 saal baad mein rahunga kya yahan pe? Would I be in their plans for the World Cup? So given that, fine, fair shout, excellent career for him to be proud of. I'll never forget that knock in Mumbai, of course. That was still, I mean, the reason why I would remember it a bit more keenly is because I was on live blog. I used to still write a fair bit for cricket.com. Of course, I was on live blog thinking, yeah, chalo, early finish, and super happy to see Afghanistan winning the game. What, 90 odd for 7, and from there again, like we've spoken enough about the knock that he should be telling his grandchildren, he should be telling everyone's grandchildren 40 for 50 years down the line. Just fantastic knock that I know Nikhil Bhai probably does not remember that knock just as memorably, but yeah, a career to be proud of and just a talisman, a true mercurial cricketer.
Yeah, I mean, Nix, I know you'll, of course, come in with your Afghan lens here, and we'll talk about that. But like Akshay just said, 2-time World Cup winner. I don't know what's prompted this decision from Maxi, but obviously, if you're injured, it makes you think about your career even more, which particular format you want to stick with. And even last World Cup final, he was there. It was something sensational. So, Nix, again, how do you react to this Maxi news? And do you think it was inevitable? Because that, anyway, for a lot of players, is a dying format, and Maxwell's another victim.
No, it's not a dying format. It'll never be. Right? ODI cricket FC never be a dying format. I think Glenn Maxwell is actually your typical ODI batter from the 90s and 2000 yield, which we grew up watching. A bit of this with the ball, very handy with the bat. I think 2015 it is very difficult to top for me, as there are moments when a player wins you over completely, and you're like, you can't top this. I think 2015 World Cup was that for me. He's 26, 27 at that age, and to then be a lone spinner, to win a home World Cup, and then not just that, he played some absolutely crazy knocks in that World Cup. So if that wasn't to be topped, he had to come up with a 200 special on one leg, and I don't know how many muscles left in his body working, but he did that. So kudos to him. I think it will be very difficult to replace somebody like a Maxwell. And again, you may see it's an easier skill. Go try finding that kind of replacements who are quality to get into a side even as an off spinner on rare off days. He could have made it to this Punjab team basis just his off spin. So it just tells you how much he could have done. Last year, 2 runs defended. Thank you for bringing it, Santosh. It is one of my craziest moments of life that I've experienced, and I was privileged enough to cover that game doing test commentary. I have never laughed harder in my life. That what have I witnessed? I don't think I will ever witness that again. So I think Glenn Maxwell has given me plenty of highs. Yes, a few lows, but that's the thing that you take when you watch so much cricket, that you will have those kind of memories. So I think fairly done. As Akshay said, looking in the right direction. Australia have quite a few people in those ranks who they want to try. So good on him. I would still feel I expected a bit more from Maxi, but he's had a turn in Sri Lanka opening the batting. Not everybody can do this kind of bingo chart, bro. So do well in a home World Cup in Australia, play a knock of 200 in Mumbai, open in T20 in Sri Lanka and score a 200. So I think special cricketer, and I hope he goes out of T20s after one good show. No titles, thank you. Let's be very clear. Title nahi chahiye Australia ko, aaram karo. But special performances, yes.
Yeah, Maxwell's honestly redefined the all-rounder role in ODI cricket. He's transformed. He's been a catalyst when he's need to. And like you alluded to, Nix, I mean, you can close your eyes and think about all the things that Glenn Maxwell's done in ODI cricket. Bowl around, bowl over, bowl in the power play, bowl in the death, field at hot spot, field at cow corner, field at different places, bat in multiple positions. Mad.
Please don't remind me of Glenn Maxwell bowling in power play. There is a final in Ahmedabad. We can do by not reminding of that. Thank you.
Okay, moving on then to greener pastures. And I say that with every pun of the word because Heinrich Klaasen has, of course, also called his time on international cricket. Akshay, have I read that right? The fact that he's literally bidding adieu to playing for South Africa, which is quite explosive in itself. Is it a court pack deal? Is it just excess franchise cricket? Where do you think this stems out of with Heinrich Klaasen?
Cold pack to छोड़ो अभी ज़माना हो गया वो सब गए हो गए I mean but I think it was coming, to be honest, given that when CSA announced their contracts a few months ago, Klaasen wasn't a part of it, so you knew मतलब एक वहीं पे पता लग गया था कि maybe not all formats but at least a couple of formats he would be moving past this, and probably this is the bigger blow to South Africa. I agree, but freaking awesome there, just because of the fact that he's what 32, 33 if I'm not wrong. Maxwell on the other hand is 36, 37. So he was already past that age curve. Klaasen still had a lot to offer to South Africa. And yeah, it's going to be hard for South Africa to recover from this, especially given that there was a T20 World Cup coming up just in 8-9 months' time. He probably could have, had that swan song, wo World Cup khatam karke retire kar sakte the. It was going to happen in India, conditions that he was very familiar with, bowlers he played a lot with. Unfortunate for South Africa, but you can understand, man, especially with South African cricketers, given the kind of money that they can make outside. So practically, it makes a lot more sense. They also need to ensure that, that they are financially secure. And given that he's been playing the MLC already, SA20 ke saath, of course. So I would imagine now we will see a lot more of him in the CPL, ILT20, even potentially BPL maybe. So, again, understandable decision from a player perspective, but from a board/team perspective, it's going to be a very big hole to fill. I can't think of so many keeper batsmen who could do what he did. Of course, there were people who were saying, Brevis aa jayega middle order mein, there's Rickleton who can keep, there's this, there's that, sure, but it's not a like-for-like replacement. Jisko bhi tum laoge, the kind of role he played, the kind of impact he had in T20 cricket. So, yeah, good on Klaasen. But unfortunately for South Africa, they will really be struggling to fill that void there. Avnish bhai, wo ki ekdam.
I mean, from a South African perspective, they will miss him. He was part of their last 2 semi-finals. Is my connection good?
No, there's a clear lag. There's a
Is my
lag.
connection good or is it bad?
Uh,
Is it better now? Point is, okay, wait, I'll come back.
Oh, bhai,
we can hear you
बुरा
clearly.
lag है यार. No, we can hear, but there's a जो मैंने 15-20 सेकंड पहले कहा था वो अब जाके उन्होंने सुना था. But anyways, with Klaasen, Nikhil bhai, how do you think South Africa can replace someone like him? And it's not going to be easy for sure.
Oops, sorry. Am I back?
Yeah,
Yes,
you're back on.
you are.
Yeah, super. Sorry, guys. So just basically, Klaasen, I mean, really is something that we want to understand more. I think I'm probably going to interact with a South African very soon. I'll ask him that as well. Speaking of a South African, let's, of course, show you what we put out earlier across platforms with regards to AB de Villiers and that interview, which is lined up later on this week. So without further ado, here's a little promo.
So lots of doubts in my mind. I heard about this new guy, Boomerang, who the hell is he? And he's staring at me. I'm like, who are you, man? Now I know who he is.
And what do you think? RCB to win it, surely.
I hope so, man.
Please.
Yeah, Punjab's playing good cricket now. That win would have boosted them big time.
Honestly, I'm just thinking about it and I'm just like, I think if we chase, we're going to do it. And there's so many combinations.
I'm 99% sure we'll bowl first if we win the toss.
Yeah.
So I think the toss will play a role.
And you're going to be there in flesh.
Whoever wins the toss will bowl first, that's for sure. Yes, I will be there in flesh.
Okay, super.
Let's hope for the toss. That's actually something, I'm going to go meditate on that now.
If RCB do win it, what's the first thing you think you'll do?
I'll celebrate and try and get into the change room somehow.
Yeah. Super.
Just to give Virat a big hug. It's my absolute pleasure, guys. Thank you.
Right, stay tuned indeed. It's going to be absolute chaos with AB de Villiers. I mean, who meets aliens? But I did one. I did literally meet an alien. It was good chat, and I'll tell you more about it. Follow us at cricket.com. All the stuff will be there in the details. Right, let's just focus on two more things before we wrap up the best of the rest, because we have Akshay's quiz and plenty of comments to take from the 12th man. I know I have to run off for a dinner at Sachin Tendulkar's favorite restaurant. If you guys know the answer, let me know in the chat. Meeting AB is a dream. Thank you. Yes. And did I ask you about Karan or Jurel? Yes, I did. And he said Karan Nair all day long. He's like, I watch the Monday Night Live podcast. I like the conversations you guys have. And sometimes Avnish is probably the best one out there. No, he didn't say that. Obviously, he didn't say that, man.
Of course.
But one
It
second,
is
Nikhil.
facts.
Honestly, let's just quickly finish best of the rest, because like I said, I'm strapped for time. What have you liked in the India A game so far? The bowling has not been that good, but the batting was good. Sarfaraz getting a 90, Jurel doing well, and Karan Nair stealing the limelight. So how do you sum up what you've seen in the first 4 days of the first unofficial test in this tour?
Plenty of runs for everyone. Almost as if everybody's like that Vijay Raj meme. RI 50, 100, RI 50, 100, RI. Everybody's just clicking photos with 50s and 100s. Of course, Karun, I think, does himself everything that he can with those runs. Without any bias, yes, Anshul took only 1 wicket, but I love that wicket. The 1 wicket that he took very early in the piece, must the pitching leg hitting top of off. And again, bowling 28 or 22 overs, best bowler for India in terms of economy rate also. So I think that is something that I want to see, because everybody else, if you see, had everybody gave a lot of runs. So again, the conditions aren't what we will see in the test eventually, but let us see how people who are in charge have looked at this, because I'm sure there are certain things that they wanted them to do. So how much of that is taken and not taken, and how many of these play the next one also? Because I'm sure even now, if you see, there is a change in batting order. Eastern has got runs. Jaiswal has got runs, but Dhruv Jurel is batting at 3. Nitish Kumar Reddy is batting well in his 40s. So can't read too much into it, but happy for Karun and looking forward to Anshul.
Karun also got a wicket, Akshay, if that interests you. Bowl 3 overs, 1 for 5. Jurel can't do that, can he?
I mean, before this becomes yet another Akshay versus Jadeja debate, I at no point in time have I said Karun is a bad player. Just so that, I mean, once again, just to reiterate that, happy, really happy, and like Nikhil Bhai said, Karun Iyer has done what was expected of him. He's done everything in his hand to put himself in the best position to get that slot. And if he does, so be it, he deserves it. So there's no two ways about it. Very happy to see him amongst the runs. Very happy to see the likes of Jurel and Encat themselves also be amongst the runs. They've clearly promoted both of them in the second innings ahead of Karun Iyer simply because batting time dena tha. I like that. It is important that everyone gets a bit of game time. Happy to see Jurel also played a very handy knock in the first innings. What, 80 odd of 90 balls. So wo aggression bhi
both got 90s. Sarfaraz and Jurel both got 90s. Yeah.
90s, apologies for that. So good to see that. And with NKR, I was expecting to see a lot more of him with the ball as well. But koi nahi theek, abhi filhal aap bat se acha kar lo. Ball ke saath, we all saw that was that this thing, right? That Yorker that he bowled. So wahi ek maine clip dekha tha. But yeah, all in all, good outing for the Indian setup in terms of the players that they tried. Abhimanyu Ishwaran, I'll be honest with you, I was a tad bit disappointed. I know second innings mein unhone 50 mara, but it's that first impression, yaar. वो आप एक पहले innings में out हो जाते हो ना, you're already just, unfortunately, that's just the riches speaking for itself. When you see Karun Iyer score a double century in the first innings, in all fairness, I think he's already sealed his spot there. Like, ये बनाने के बाद, it's very hard unless you have like 5 consecutive failures. So, अरे हाँ ठीक है भाई, 19-21 ही ले लो, that's still not a lot of difference. But that's where Abhimanyu Ishwaran, unfortunately, when he got that chance yet again, he couldn't make it count. But let's hope that, you know, over the next couple of tests, he does do well and potentially even make stake a claim in the Indian setup for the series.
Okay, super. You guys can catch all the coverage and articles of it on cricket.com. Shaurya Tiwari will answer this in the 12th man. I know there's some news for Bangalore fans. It could be Bengaluru Colombo to host the final of the Women's World Cup. And I'm pretty sure Akshay and Nia will talk about it with greater detail in their women's podcast. Go give them some love there. Right. Speaking of Akshay, let's go on to his quiz, but we just have to address one more thing with regards to England versus West Indies. One hell of an ODI series happening. I say that because Root pulled off a miraculous 166 to get them over the line. Nick, your thoughts about the series going on so far? Casey Carty, he's got 300s in 4 innings. Is he the next big thing in white ball cricket for the West Indies?
Yeah, I mean, he's done, again, as we spoke about Karun, when you get chances, all you can do, score. And I think that's what Casey Carty has done in the recent past. And that is good because there have been a lot of times where we've wondered, who after Shai Hope? Who after Evan Lewis? Who after this guy? Now you know a couple of guys who've come in and they are scoring. Matthew Ford may not have had the best times with the ball, but I still feel he'll get in. I think Howzzaat Joseph bowled really well in the second game, but in that ODI, but Joe Root doing Joe Root things. So happy for England that they are on their way in ODI format because we need good ODI teams. If people don't know, they are not ranked in the top 5. So just say. Expectations are aligned that way. Okay. They could miss out on a Champions Trophy if it happens right now. Who knows? We don't know. So let's wait. And West Indies, please keep scoring tons of runs. We want to see more of. They might need more bowling impetus, but I think that will come with time. We need to know about the conditions also.
One word on Bethel, Akshay, because that 82-53 gave us a glimpse of what he can do for England in the future. Has the IPL stint made him better? Because many people agree with that thought.
Many people ke paas kyun jana hai, wo khud hi bola, and understandably so and rightly so. Experiences like these, of course, make you a much better cricketer, and the fact that he got to rub shoulders with the likes of Virat Kohli and probably even get a bit of mentoring from Dinesh Karthik, it would have definitely done wonders to his batting. And by that I don't mean technique or anything. It's just the little nuances that we as fans of the sport, there are certain things we'll never be able to understand. You know what it is like to be in the middle playing cricket. We'll never know, yaar. We'll never know, unfortunately. We are gully cricket experts. Agar road ke beech mein kaise chhakka marna kisi ko janna hai, we're more than happy to give you some tips on that. But given that, so Jacob Bethel, definitely he's learned a lot from it, taken a lot from that experience, especially playing in front of such raucous crowds, such vociferous crowds, So all of these things definitely matter. It makes you better equipped at handling pressure situations even. So good to see him come good, of course. And yeah, man, he's definitely one to watch out for, goes without saying. West Indies camp expecting him to do good things, come potentially even the Ashes later this year as well.
Okay, interesting. Good prospect, Jacob Bethel. Moving on to, of course, things that you guys like on the MNL with great fervor, and that is how's that Akshay's quiz? It's a tough one today. Trust me, man. Meanwhile, before we get Akshay's quiz started, plenty of great comments which we have already thought of putting up in the 12th man segment. So don't worry, we have that in store. Akshay, take it away. What did you have last week compared to this week?
Yep, let's have last week's. Yep, there you go. It was very simple. Chart tha wahan pe. All we wanted was for you guys to help us understand what this chart is all about. Right from one in 2008 to just one once again in 2025. And I didn't give you additional hints that in 2008, that one instance was with the Rajasthan Royals, and in 2025, it was with the Sunrisers Hyderabad, which is this very season. Nikhil came really close. A lot of you came up with very interesting answers. Unfortunately, no one got it bang on. We were talking about the captain-coach combination. There's only one instance in the season of an overseas coach and overseas captain combination. It is Daniel Vettori with Pat Cummins. In 2008, of course, it was Shane Warne. So technically not a combination, but technically it's also right. So that was that. In the last auction cycle, SRH ke saath, there was, of course, also RCB, because we had an overseas coach in Faf du Plessis. Not the case anymore this time with Rajat coming in. So that was the answer to that. No winners there. This time around, though, quickly going on to this week's question. There we go. Very simple. Table is high. The table has teams. There are 4, 5, 10 teams, and you've got number of instances. All I want is for you guys to identify what instances are being referred to in the table. Okay? RCB के पास 4 है, but RPSG के पास 1 ही along with GT. So what are we talking about here? Do let us know. Like always, please wait for the live stream to end. Do not key in your answers in the live chat. Please wait for the live stream to end and key in your answers in the main comment section at the end of the live stream. And thankfully, Avnish is just about back in time. So it's time for me to get rid of the graphic. There we go. So that's the Howzzaat question of the night.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough one to think about before the final. Let me know what you guys think. That one was very tough, saying Chandan Ramaya and Vikas Shukla. Good luck with your flight. My producer is, of course, boarding his flight to Bangalore. Last time, apparently, when he came in, the turbulence really made him think twice whether to fly anymore in life or not, because it's crazy. The weather is crazy. Hopefully, all you guys are staying safe in terms of the weather wherever you are watching in India. I would have loved to say hello to you guys, but I met someone really big today, so exposed. Talk now, Vikas Shukla, is what these boys in office would say. Anyway, freaking awesome. Saying Akshay is good at creating questions for entrance exam. He reminds me graph statistics and many other aspects of mathematics. Incredibly. He takes a lot of pride in being the quizmaster that he is for Howzzaat. But moving away from Howzzaat, let's conclude with you guys, and it's some great questions we've got in the 12th man segment. Right, time to take some random questions from the chat that we've missed through, and Vishnu V catches my eye because he has this most recently. Now, like I said, Akshay and Nihal discussed this, but the news trickling in, Bangalore and Colombo potential venues for the Women's World Cup 2025. Akshay, a word on this. I mean, what's the sitch in terms of women's cricket and the India-Pakistan tensions there? Do you think they travel? The hybrid model, does that still exist?
Yeah, it's the hybrid model. It's going to be India, Sri Lanka. Of course, Colombo will be the joint host. So they'll be hosting all of Pakistan's group stage games. And of course, the semi-final and final should, one of the semi-final and the final should Pakistan qualify to either of them. Or else that semi-final will go to Guwahati, Bangalore being the host of the other semi-final. Very, very, very happy about the fact that, better sense prevailed and at least one top-tier venue was chosen to host the World Cup. I knew कि Mullampur probably wasn't the best of choices. अगर आपको करना ही है, it could be one of 4-5 venues, but there should be at least one of Mumbai, Bangalore, Chennai, a venue that's already hosted women's cricket and has shown that there is some appetite for women's cricket consumption in those cities. Bangalore has definitely shown that they've seen a lot of support, not just for the RCB fixtures in the WPL, but also the India-South Africa ODIs that happened last year. We all remember the crowds were, the stands were fairly filled, chants of Smriti and all of that. So very happy to see that. And of course, finally, it'll be, not just poetic, it'll be amazing if India are able to lift their maiden World Cup in our very own Bangalore. So again, that's just me being very, very sort of self-centered. Happy about that. But with the venues, that's the only update right now. The schedule hasn't come out. The tournament starts on the 30th of September with India taking on someone else in the opener. And that's also coming in from Bangalore. The final will be held on the 2nd of November and the semi-finals will be on the 30th and 31st, if I'm not wrong. So that's the schedule that we know of right now.
Okay, super. Saad Nizamuddin saying, can we make worst playing 11 of this year's IPL? We'll probably have that out for you soon. I think the satirical writers in our team will probably have something. Nikhil, do you want to take a go at that? Who features in your 11?
We've already made it. So please check
you've made
out
that as well? Brilliant. Even sometimes I feel like I live under a rock with Bear Tuck stuff. But go check that out if they've done a worst 11. It'll be great. My producer also tells me that a lucky fan will be joining us in the last 10 minutes of 12th Man segment, which is great. You guys know him in the chat. He's a very popular name, and we'll get him on in just a couple of minutes. But a few questions earlier. Andy saying, how much of a relief was last night's result for you guys? You're now in for a lax fan and almost party-like atmosphere as you romp to the title on the back of your bowling. I mean, man, if I was this optimistic, I'd probably be building a spaceship.
Punjab fan reverse jinxing. I know that. I know a reverse jinxer when I see one.
But isn't Andy a CSK fan? I always thought he was a CSK fan.
Supporting, rooting for Punjab or something like that. This is, ये क्या अलग level का optimism लेके आओ कि हाँ, you've already won there's a reason why we are in the final, Andy. So let's again, if you really are being that optimistic, then I'm really sorry. That is, I don't think there's any reason for so much optimism, but yeah.
Okay, Kushal Shah has one. Next, why can you take this one? Before the finals, so not to be biased with hindsight, who do you think were the best and worst buys for RCB and Punjab this auction? You touched upon it in your analysis of both teams earlier in the podcast, but if you have to give me two best buys and worst buys for each of these teams, who comes to mind?
Yeah, worst to मैं नहीं बोलूँगा, but unused to be अगर ले लो, तो I think Hardy has hardly had any game time. So maybe they could have simply picked somebody better there instead of Aaron Hardy, that is Punjab. I am very, very biased when I say that Omarza is one of their best buys because he's filled in for Jansen without realizing, and they've still not even used him well. And I won't be surprised if he ends up as the pen cutting that people think Marcus Stoinis would be. So that's
interesting.
Punjab's best and worst. I don't recall the worst buy that I think that was there for RCB that I felt at that point of time. I think the problem that I had with RCB and still have is the backups, which is how you've had to go to a Mayank Agarwal for DDP, which is not a like for like. It works out, that is different. But I think backups were my only problems. Invariably, Livingston might seem like the guy who hasn't worked out at all. So he might come out as the worst buy. But the best buy in that sense was always going to be, to me, Phil Salt. Because what Phil Salt solves for RCB, very few people. There are 6 teams who need that kind of role, even now in the IPL. So I think that sums up for me.
Okay, super. Akshay, I'm not going to give you this one because, again, like I said, have to run off for dinner and I want to get that fan on board right now. Freaking awesome. Actually, why can't you just answer this? Because I know Nick's mentioned Aaron Hardy. Akshay, 2 minutes or 2 seconds on this one. Do you think they should have given a chance to Aaron Hardy?
Yeah, now though, anyway, it's too late. And with Aaron Hardy, he is improving, when it comes to conditions like these. And I would have always given Azmat a shot over Aaron Hardy. He would have always been above Aaron in the pecking order. So I don't think there was any reason for Punjab to give Aaron Hardy right now a chance.
And speaking of Aaron Hardy, his team Punjab apparently winning a 51% duel with RCB's 49% in terms of the Star Sports vote. I don't know how flawed these are, how true
flawed
it is. If it is true.
It is
True.
49 and wanting to give it to RCB.
Oh, RCB 49 here also. Incredible. Right, let's move on and stick with the 12th man segment because it is time to get a fan on board. If he's ready, Darshan Senthil, who of course did win Akshay's quiz, has been always chatty with us. We're going to get him on right now and just have a chat like we've done with New Relax with Rasan, Chandan Ramaya. So many of you all popped on literally in terms of MNL. This is Darshan's turn. And Darshan, let's get you on. How are you? And good to see you, man. Where are you joining us from? It's kind of bright. You're not audible.
You're on mute if I'm not wrong. Yeah.
No, we can hear his audio, but we can't hear his video. I mean, can't hear his voice.
Yeah, we can hear some background noise, so something's audible from his frame, but for some reason his voice isn't audible. Yeah,
He's
you can probably
panicking, the
check
lad.
settings. Yeah, no worries, it's all right. Just check settings, click on settings, and there's audio, and you can probably select the output.
Better now?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I think it's noise cancellation or something was up.
No problem.
anyways,
Darshan, how are you? And where are you?
apologies.
Because it seems very bright from where you're joining us.
Oh yeah, so thanks guys for having me on. So I'm calling in from Ireland. I'm from a city called Galway, and so it's sunset's very late here. I think a few days back it set at like 10 or something. So it's the summers are quite crazy here in terms of that.
Well done, man. Ireland was a country that I was expecting, but yeah, shout out to all you lovers in Ireland of cricket.com and have a pint of Guinness for me because honestly, I want to chug all of them tomorrow if RCB win, Darshan. But look, first question to you, one day before the final, whose squad are you in, Darshan?
Oh, RCB 100%. Like 100% RCB.
It is not. Sorry, it should not even be a question on this platform. Please.
Exactly. Having taken enough of his comments, we know that for a fact. In fact, that's a Darshan. How are you coping up with that? Like for us, we are probably near the epicenter, so in some sense it helps us because there's so many people talking in and around us. Like all of my family, my cousins, everyone's been texting me, meeting me, who's going to win tomorrow? How's it with you? You know, living so far away, you probably don't have anyone necessarily to talk about this to.
So you'd be surprised. There's RCB fans here everywhere. Like I think I went to go get my student card renewed a few years ago, and I was wearing an RCB shirt, and the guy who was renewing my card was like, "I'm an RCB fan too." And like last year, I was at the women's game between England and Ireland, and one of the fans came up behind me and he asked Kate Cross, like, "Do you support RCB or CSK more?" So like they're everywhere. RCB fans are everywhere here. So so it's. Most of my close friends don't really follow cricket that much, so I don't talk to too many people in person. But yeah, that's what I have Twitter for, and obviously your podcast is fantastic for interacting. And definitely, it's definitely. I'm very nervous for sure, especially with a few days, man. With that wait for a few days between Q1 and the final. It's been a lot of nerves. So just trying to mentally prepare myself for whatever happens tomorrow.
Breathe, meditate. It's fine. It's completely fine because I know RCB. The last time we were in this position was 9 years ago, so it's not very often we can say we're in a final. And let's see if we even win it for the first time. I have a lot of things to ask you, but I'll ask you a few things right now before Akshay and Nix want to join in the chat. First and foremost, when did you ever kind of come across cricket.com? I'll be selfish and have vested interest first because you've been very good in the chat. You've lent in some good insights, and this is the first time I've seen you. So how did you stumble upon us?
Yes, actually, it was partially thanks to Nikhil Bhai. I think I saw some of his content on Twitter. He was working with you guys. I think it was around the time of the 2023 World Cup. You guys were doing some watch-alongs. So I found you guys at that time, and then this carried forward into the next IPL, the auction watch-alongs. And one watch-along I had a lot of fun during was India-Afghanistan, the Bangalore T20 that went into double super over. I was following along that while I was doing my work in the lab. It was a lot of fun. It went for a very long time. So that was one of the interactions I had a lot of fun with.
That's amazing. I remember we did a Fancams. We burst into the stadium where that double super happened. But it just makes you think about your cricket viewing as a fan. You just mentioned an RCB fan. What made you fall in love with the game? Because I kind of do this with the fans gone by in terms of their first moment of cricket, their first certain teams, their favorite players. So can you just give me a little introduction in terms of the cricket fan that you are?
Yeah, of course. So it started for me around the 2009 IPL, I want to say. That's when I first started to get attached to RCB. And like many people, that RCB sort of drove me into cricket at large. So I've also lived abroad quite a bit for most of my life, and so cricket was one of those things that sort of kept me it was a way for me to also just connect with being back home in India. So that's also one big link for me as well. So I was following a lot on Twitter, keeping an update with all the games, and but yeah, RCB has always been the cornerstone of my passion for cricket. And so whenever I follow other games, it's always a lot of the times that is sitting at the cornerstone of it. Yeah, does that answer?
That's
that?
wild.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's wild. I mean,
because
it's pretty crazy.
Really,
Go on,
I mean,
Akshay.
it's the story of so many of my friends as well. Because of the fact that for some reason, again, firstly, I would want to know, are you from Bangalore? Is that what first connected you with RCB? What was it like?
Yeah. So my family's from Bangalore, so we stay there. So I'm studying abroad. My family's in India still.
Got it.
So I visit every year, pretty much. So I'm always, unfortunately, I've never really managed to come during the IPL season. So it's been many years since I've been to an RCB game. But I love Bangalore, a beautiful city, and I've been to a few games at the Chinnaswamy many years back. Last I think was in 2017. It's a next level experience.
A season to forget if it was an IPL game, but
For sure. Even that particular game was extremely forgettable. Like Chris Lynn and Narayan hit us for like 100 in the power play or something.
Oh wow!
It was a very forgettable game from the RCB point of view, but it was still a fun experience. Just it's there's a certain sense of purity being there amongst the fans. So yeah,
That's never sure, man.
something
But
else.
what about the Indian team? What do
That
you
is
think of
true.
the Indian teams? You're close. You're
Pardon?
clearly closer to the England series than we are. Geographically.
yeah.
What are your expectations from that?
The England versus West Indies one. It's actually interesting from a schedule.
India series.
No, India, in terms of the preview
Oh,
of the series.
pardon, sorry.
No worries, no worries.
Which England? I think I misheard you. England versus.
The
India.
India test.
The upcoming test.
Oh, sorry. Yes, I am excited for that as well. Obviously, I was very shocked as well to see Kohli and Rohit's retirement at that point. So, that was definitely going to be a big turnaround that season. Unfortunately, it's difficult for me to travel there, so unfortunately, I won't be able to catch any of the games in the stadiums. But it'll be happening in a time zone that's better for me anyway. So hopefully, I'll be able to keep an eye on those. And I'm excited to see some of the names you guys were mentioning as well in the India A squad. It'll be interesting to see who makes the comeback into the middle order. Maybe someone like a Karun Nair. It'll be exciting to see where he goes, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, I'm just doing the wordplay there because I just want everyone to back me up. But Chandan, there's so many things to ask you still because like I have random things like I want to ask you. Like you just said, Ireland. Have you ever been to Malahide to watch a game? Has it been?
I have
good?
actually. I was there for when India came play. I played against Ireland in 2023. I was there for Bumrah's first game after his big injury layover. He came back. He captained a team here, and so I was able to see his first sort of comeback. His first ball was a bit wayward. I think he got Balburney clipped him for 4. From that second ball onwards, I don't think he has bowled. There've been very few bad balls that he has bowled in the 2 years since that comeback. Honestly, like as Nikhil
I remember that. Yeah, exactly. I remember that series because Deepak Hooda got 100, right, Nikhil?
This is the year after that. Deepak Hooda was
the year after.
So,
this is the one where
before the World Cup.
Yeah, exactly.
before the World Cup, so 2023. So
right after
so
the West Indies series, I remember West Indies, they played 5 T20Is and then they came to Ireland, of course. Rinku Singh made his debut, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, that's the one.
Yeah. So I remember doing watch-alongs with Avnish. We were just trying to think, what to make of the series. And that was around the time when Nikhil and I, we were just harping about the fact that हर बार नए player को debut करा रहे हो, कौन खेलने वाला है, कौन क्या. So I just remember that series was that phase to be just India trying out a bunch of different players without us really knowing कि कौन कहाँ खेलने वाला है, who's even going to be part of the World Cup squad and all of that.
That's true.
Yeah.
You mentioned Nikhil over there, Darshan, the fact that you stumbled on cricket.com over there. Let me ask Nikhil to ask you a question right now. Nix, this man, of course, has popped onto our platforms thanks to you, and you've been great that way. What do you have, Darshan, tonight?
No, first it's a privilege to be speaking to people who we've chatted so much about it since years, and one of those good sane minds with whom you can discuss without worrying that there is a slander coming or there is a dig coming. Always good to talk cricket with Darshan. I mean, I know most of his choices and preferences as well, so I'm wondering what to ask him. So I'll spare him that. If he wants to ask something, he can.
Exactly. Let's throw the floor open to Darshan itself.
Oh, sure.
You have even Firas. What are your thoughts, of course?
Of course. Yeah, firstly, once again, it's a privilege to speak with you guys. Big fan of your work. Love the cricket.com podcast, particularly very, very happy with how interactive it is. One question I was curious to ask is, so obviously you guys do a lot of content creation. So what is probably the big first step you guys need to take when putting forward a piece of cricket content? Like obviously, like how do you ever get worried that it might be a very unpopular opinion? You might get a lot of backlash, or are you worried that you might be doing it's fully correct, things like that?
Who wants to go, boys?
I'll take this actually because it is a valid question, and it's like a rite of passage, Darshan. Initially, of course, when you first start off, there always will be slander. You can say Virat Kohli is the best cricketer and you will still be slandered. You can say he's the worst cricketer, you'll still be slandered. You get used to it over time. That's the only way you sort of, go through this. There's no, there'll never be a point in time where you just get your opinions right and everyone will be happy with you. You just make peace with the fact that, you know what, I can say anything I want and people will still be upset with me. So I'd much rather just be myself and stick to what I have in my mind, what are my opinions. So as long as you're being authentic to yourself and you're being true to what you want to say, that's all that matters. Because people like in Hindi, there's that saying, "Na kuch to log kahenge, unka kaam hai kehna." They just keep saying all the time. So that's how it's worked for me. Of course, Nikhil bhai and Avnish had a lot more experience when it comes to this side of things.
Yeah, Nikhil, you agree?
No, I'll just say.
I mean, essentially, I was going to go last, but I'll let you go first.
Fair. I think to me, it is just, I mean, Darshan has heard and read a lot of me, I'm sure already. But to me, I think the only thing that I remember and try to keep in mind is what Harsha Bhole once said in the podcast, that you have to always remember who you are not. So whenever you are commenting or speaking about the game or a player, that line has always to be drawn. You are only commenting on the performance. You're only commenting on what you understand from the outside. You are never going to be in the player's shoe to say how it feels, what he may have done to get here. So nobody's going to ever discredit that. But it still should not stop you from being very objective about it, that you're speaking about something that you think you understand, and that's where you draw the line. And till the time you are happy, till the time you realize, I haven't said anything that I don't strongly believe in, or I don't think I have crossed the line, I am fine. You are invariably not going to like it. Fair. It takes time. It's taken me years to have that confidence to come on camera and say things out loud, which I think at times cost me. But again, everybody has their own journey and we see where it takes.
Just to add to that, I mean, Darshan, the fact that, look, I mean, generally even being content head, I just think we've built our brand in a way that we want to be relatable. We want to be cool and young in terms of talking cricket. We don't want to go to the traditional houses that we already have. And I don't want to mention any names. I just think we're all mindful of what we say. And we, of course, mean no harm in any sense of the word. But we will, of course, literally be honest with you guys. And that's where the conversation's kind of grown on our podcast, in our lives, so on and so forth. And we also have a very slanderous chat. Like if you've seen the watch-alongs and the Monday Night Lives, people don't hold back in their comments themselves. So it just makes you think about how cricket can be perceived as content going forward, and how it's obviously redundant in the past to do certain things, and constantly reinventing the wheel and figuring out how we can just bring better things for you. Because cricket in India, you can marry it with stats, you can marry it with comedy, you can marry it with any particular sort of angle, and it will work. But we've kind of burnt our hands, come back and figured out, okay, fine, there are a few things which have really worked well and few things which haven't. But on that note, I'm the curious cat, and I know you literally are a guy who comments all the time. And this is one of your comments earlier today. We'll end on that note. I don't know if I can take that comment. Yeah, this is a comment that I wanted. Oh God, please no 2-day final. Don't need one more day of anxiety. One is, how are you watching the final? And two is, who is that cute cat? Because that's the one thing which always catches me when you, of course, comment on our platforms.
Oh man, yeah. So that I took that picture at a cat cafe actually many years ago. So it was a cute picture, so I made it my profile picture. I think it's my WhatsApp one as well. I just haven't bothered changing it for many years. But in terms of how I'm watching the final, yeah, it's just as normal. It's a working day, so try and keep an eye on it as I work. I try and walk around as much as I can, and try and dissipate the stress. But yeah, it is very anxiety inducing. Like sometimes my parents, they're like, "How can you be so stressed about something that's not like a big deal? Like relatively speaking, it's not that big of a deal in your life, but it really does, because it is a very close part of my life, and yeah, a lot of my time and passions have gone into this team. So I think this is probably one of the best RCB squads, arguably, that have ever been put to paper. And yeah, I'm hoping they can go the extra mile this time.
I'll tell you what, I mean, for all the fellow RCB fans, including you, Akshay, and everyone else watching this, good luck, guys, because obviously we're going to be calling it live. Join us for that. Darshan, thank you so much for your time. I hope to see you soon, and I hope that you might enjoy your Guinness with maybe some Haldiram Gupshup peanuts. I don't know what you get in Ireland, but I know you get some different peanuts there. That's for sure.
Definitely. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you, Darshan.
Thank you for having me again. Take care.
No worries. Brilliant. Darshan from honestly Ireland, and we've made literally sense of that. The fact that literally he had time dedicated to us and he's given it to us. So well done for him winning the quiz and coming on. If you guys want to be Darshan next week, you guys can just win all the competitions that Akshay puts out. Even some of the watch-along stuff that we do, we'll get you on MNL. And who knows, we might even interact with you all further in future episodes of MNL. Right, I have to rush. Literally, the reservation awaits me at 10 p.m. Apparently, I'm going to O Pedro in Mumbai. So first time I'm visiting that place. Akshay has given up a thumbs up. Sachin Tendulkar likes it. Apparently, that's his favorite place. So, going to just spoil myself before the final tomorrow. Nicks, take care. Have a lovely week and the rest of the month, my friend. I will see you shortly. Akshay, good luck. I'll see you tomorrow. I don't know what time you're coming to office tomorrow, but I should be there around 4 p.m. And RCB, come on, man. Please. If Punjab win, I'll literally be the first person to congratulate every Punjab fan. But I'll be biased here, guys. Forget about everything else. Forget that I'm a cricket anchor. I want RCB to win, and that's how it's going to be. Nicks, Akshay, thank you. We'll end it there. Cheers.